Hello everybody, it's vanburman here, and this weekend I decided to go to the movies, and I decided to go and watch, well, what you can see on screen, Pompeii. Not in 3D though, in 2D. I'm not really a huge fan of 2D movies. 3D movies. And I guess the question that is on your lips if you're watching this video is Pompeii worth going and watching? Well, to sum it up very, very simply, if you've seen Gladiator or Gladiator, then no, this film is probably not worth your time at all. It's a very, very similar concept. Obviously, the story has changed somewhat, and it has a few questionable choices for actors within the game. However, I don't know. It's just there's no real sort of A-list celebrities in this particular film, but it was nice to see a couple of smaller actors get obviously bigger parts. I mean, we have Kit Harington, as most of you will know as Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. That was probably the main reason I wanted to come watch it, because I quite like him as an actor. I think he plays these sort of medieval, well, I know this one is Roman, but sort of medieval style media very well. And to be fair, his performances were probably one of the highlights of the film. And I did enjoy it, despite the fact there were some things that annoyed me about the film. Like I mentioned, the direct comparison between this and Gladiator, that of course had Russell Crowe in it. I don't know. I said it to my grandparents, and my granddad went, "Oh, I don't like the TV series." And obviously he was thinking about gladiators with Flash or Storm or whatever they were called, big muscly men hitting each other with wooden sticks. Well, no, they're wooden sticks. Anyway, that's not the point. So it was always going to be a hard task, I think, for Pompeii to compete when it's overshadowed by what is such a renowned film. You know, probably is in my top 5 list of films. I don't really know anyone that's seen it and not liked it, and that's obviously Gladiator. And Pompeii also, there is a bit where obviously, anyone that knows anything about Roman history will know what happened with Pompeii and the volcano. And that's another one of the things that annoyed me about the film. We had, balls of molten lava firing across the city, burning and destroying everything in its path, until eventually the city was nothing left, basically than a crumbled mass. And it's not quite how the Pompeii disaster happened. It was, of course, the molten ash falling from the sky and petrifying everything within its radius. Didn't happen in the film. There's a whole load of destruction, chasing around, running through, backing in and out of the city, and dear, it was a real big palaver. They made far too much of it, to be honest. It really should have, in my opinion, just been a great big impending doom. And the thing is, you're sitting there like me, watching it, being annoyed by the massive historical flaws in the film, obviously, aside from Kit's character anyway. The fact that he was brought over from a caught as a slave from a Celtic tribe that was butchered by the senator, Corvus, who's played by Kiefer Sutherland, who I believe is in the 24 TV series. He doesn't play the role very well. It doesn't suit him too much. His voice is way off. The acting was okay by him, but I don't know. I think that, in my opinion, was the wrong casting for that role. Anyway, I'm getting away from the point. And I would have used Pompeii as just a sort of impending doom that would have, sort of ended it all without the characters really knowing, not destroying the city totally and having a huge mass panic. I mean, I know that makes more for cinema, but I don't know, it just went a bit too far away from the historical version of what happened. So, yeah, we knew that everyone was going to die. I was sitting there thinking, well, it doesn't really matter who wins this fight between the good guy and the bad guy, because, you know, they're both going to be engulfed by this volcano anyway. And luckily, the film does have a proper ending. Spoiler, turn off your microphone now, or turn off the the video. But everybody dies. Yeah, I know, harsh. But I'm not really sure what you're expecting if you're going to go and watch a film called Pompeii. A lot of the ratings in the media have given it 3 stars. And in fairness, that's probably about where it's at. I came out saying that, you know, I thought maybe it was 3.5, but upon reflection and everything considered and how it annoyed different parts of, you know, what I thought about it, it was, yeah, I think it does sit around the 3-star mark very well. There are some standout performances, like I say, Kit Harington. I think he'll go on to do really big things. Well, I hope he does anyway, because it's great for him to get such a big part when, you know, he's obviously filming for the Game of Thrones TV show as well. And the sky's the limit for him, you know, a British actor. Apart from the fact that he is putting on a slight accent in the film, which I'm not really keen on. I'd preferred him just to use his normal voice for it, but because he is British anyway. But when, you know, films are made, the British part of the accent has to be emphasised, it seems, in order to prove that he is British. So it's just one of those, I'm afraid. But overall, the film could be worth going to watch, as long as you're pretty much aware of what it's going to be like. Upon watching the 2D version, you can tell that there's a couple of things thrown in there that, you know, are for the 3D. There was a throwing of an axe, I believe, and it, you know, came up close to the camera, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, yeah, this is obvious. That bit's obviously been put in for the 3D version. I presume a lot of the molten balls of lava falling from the sky, I'm sure that, you know, some of that would have been for the 3D aspect as well. I don't think it's worth going and watching in 3D, and it's pretty much the reason I didn't want to, even though the timing for the 3D version of the film was better. I had to go and watch it about 6 o'clock for the 2D version, and the 3D version was at 8. And there's only one showing a day as well, which I was quite surprised considering it, you know, only came out a week ago. Anyway, it's the way it is. So, yeah, you can look forward to some nice points from it. The story is a little bit flat and very convoluted, sorry. How did I just get that word wrong twice? Anyway, I'm really tired now, so I'm going to leave it there. But if you have any comments to make about Pompeii, if you've been to see it yourself, I'd love to know what you thought about it. You know, and what you think about Kit as well. Do you think he can go on to do really big things, or is this just his be all and end all of his career, obviously, aside from Game of Thrones, which obviously brought a lot of people's attention to him, such as mine. And I think that's all for today. Hopefully I've spoilt it massively, but hopefully I haven't spoilt the intricate details of the film too much. And if it is something you want to go and see, then you could choose worse to go and watch at the cinema than this. So bear that in mind if you are going. I'll see you next time, everybody. Goodbye.